Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Everyday Enlightenment. I want to take a little time and address the deceit of attachment. The deceit of attachment is by far the number one obstacle we face in our everyday lives, in our emotional stability, in our mental stability. Emotions and the mind are very intertwined, and without a solid understanding of us being our own worst enemy or obstacle, it's hard to understand how the deceit of attachment prevents us from the bliss of the present moment. So I want to talk to you about the functions of attachment, why it is a deceit, and the understanding that we use to get beyond this sense, or this deceit, as I call it, of attachment. Alright? Number one is, on a platonic scale, we are all attached. We are all from one energy source. We all require our environment to live, thrive, and survive. If you don't believe me, try holding your breath for over 6-8 minutes. Unless you're David Blaine or some Tibetan monk, you're going to have a hard time with it. And you're going to start needing your environment. I say that to address right off the bat our interdependence on the environment. However, what I'm referring to is a spiritual and mental and emotional state that is not dependent on our environment. Our goal is to have a well-trained mind that exists only in the present. And the number one problem with the deceit of attachment, or the sense of attachment, is that attachment is only linked to the past. And it's a misconception. That's why I call it a deceit, is because it's a misconception of self. And the reason I call it a misconception of self is because it's a misconception that you are, at this very moment, anything less than absolutely complete. You are absolutely complete. There's nothing from the day you were born to the present that is different. You have your body, you have your spirit, you have your own energy. You feed off energy from the environment, you send energy back out to the environment. The problem is that we have mentally and very strongly emotionally anchored ourselves to a person, place, or event, or a thing from the past that keeps us from being 100% conscious in the moment. The reason why people have a good time in the moment, although their lives may be hell, is that because for that moment in their happiness, or whatever's causing this instant emotion, they've taken their mind or their consciousness or their direct thought off of whatever it is that has that's been hurting them or holding them back. However, they've set in motion such a reciprocal energy about that connected event that once this temporary feeling of whatever rush or high has gone, they're still left with that reciprocal energy from a past emotional experience. So they go right back to losing sight of the present moment. A lot of that comes from early childhood issues, childhood problems with disappointment, or sometimes it's horrible, grievous actions that other people have done to you. But and sometimes it's, a lot of times it's relationship based. Somebody believes that they love somebody. They believe that somebody loves them. And they get attached by investing so much emotional feelings into somebody. But the problem is that it's not love. Love is not an investment, because investments seek to get a return. And there's nowhere under the truest definition of love will you see any attachment to your investment. That the attachment and investment will go hand in hand, and that's what you think you're expounding when you send out your love. But that's not love. That's a strategic emotional investment that you hope to get a return on. And we get disappointed when we don't see those returns. Sometimes it happens immediately, sometimes over time. The essence of love is to give of yourself unselfishly, without any expectation or acknowledgement or anything from return. It's a willingness to give, to suffer, to do all those with absolutely nothing in return. And that's a hard concept, especially for Westerners to understand. But it's the truth. Anything else is some feeling of fondness or affection, but it is not love. Now, once we understand that our truest bliss can only be contained in the moment. It's not in the past, it's not in the hope for a future. Bliss exists only in the present. It's easy to find, it's right there, but we keep an obstacle from that bliss by holding on to emotional attachments from the past, or these deceits that were attached, when all reality we're not attached to anything. You may have made a spiritual, physical, or emotional, energetic investment into something, but if you give anything out, it's gone. You have to accept the fact that you are a spiritual entity on your own. Somebody else is a spiritual entity on their own. You can't dictate what they do. You can't control what they do. Sometimes they leave. Sometimes they come and hurt you, then leave. Sometimes they never come at all. We don't control this. And when we realize that we're deceiving ourselves if we think we are any less complete at this moment because of these people, places, or events or things that have happened to us. If we think we are any less complete than the day we were a newborn infant, we deceive ourselves. So with the realization that we are absolutely complete and wholeheartedly every bit intact that we were on the day we were born, we'll understand that there is no lacking. We are in this moment, and we can expect and entertain bliss without having a sense of attachment to some obstacle or some person or some event that previously hurt us. When we understand that we can only ever be present, we can start to analyze our presentness and look inside ourselves and say, are we holding something in the present that keeps us from being absolutely complete? Because absolute completeness is bliss. That's what it is. It's a realization that nothing matters, no desires, no attachments, anything like that. So when we realize that we have nothing to carry with us because we are already complete, we have everything we need, we can lay down these deceits of attachment that keep us from our optimal state of mind, optimal emotional sense of stability, our optimal mental stability. I hope this makes sense to everybody. I hope it's helped some people. Please stay tuned. If you like what I'm saying, subscribe, and we'll have more coming up. Thank you.